Tried to wear color, then changed into black. Went out to a club, they hit on my friends instead. Put on makeup, was told it's too much. Now I'm tired and I wanna drink and be touched.
Growing up, I was surrounded by music in like a really intense way. Both of my parents are musicians and creatives. My mom's an actress and my dad is a musician, and they were both working on being a musician in New York as I was born. And so I always felt like I had a creative essence about myself, but I felt really inspired by watching them be such free spirits and focusing on their journey. But I didn't know at a young age that I was gonna be a musician, but singing always felt right. And so moving into high school, I just had to audition for the Performing Arts High School. So I auditioned to be a choir major instead of dance and instead of theater. And then I fell in love with singing on my own in my vocal jazz class. And so that's when it really, really started. I think it was just a means to get through school. I think at that age, I was just trying to figure out what stimulated me and what was fulfilling. And so at that point, I just knew I wanted to perform, but I wasn't sure why. I was just kind of naive to it, and then I fell in love with it. Towards the end of high school, I started realizing like this could possibly be what I am supposed to do or what I'm meant to do. I think it was definitely a transition for me to get comfortable performing, because I had a little bit of this anxiety when I knew when I was dancing and performing, I wasn't always picked first, and I looked a little different than all of the dancers. So when I began singing and performing, I had to kind of hone in on the fact that this is a different experience, and that past trauma situation doesn't necessarily have to reflect how I am. And so I remember like one of the first times I sang a solo in high school, I just like went for it, and I felt like I just had to black out and like lose myself in the song. And then I realized that that was like the only time I really felt confident as a young kid. Was when I was singing solos. And so it kind of changed my life and the psychology of it. And I'm still overcoming it because it terrifies me, but I think it feels so good to do it. At LVA, we were given intensive training by the choir director, Megan Frankie, and she just instilled how important music was to me, and it was my entire life, all of high school. So that training felt like it kind of shaped me as a musician and made me a little bit more confident. And then from there, she kind of helped push me to pursue music in college. So I auditioned for Berklee. I studied music business and songwriting there for just a year. And that was a really interesting experience as well, just because it humbles you when you're around so many incredible musicians. I learned a lot about the psychology of the music industry there. I had a little spurt in LA for 6 months to see if I could get signed and what have you, and that was a little dark. So then I came back to Vegas and taught vocal lessons full time and fell in love with the teaching aspect of things, and I'm still able to gig. I love the universal connection that music brings on community. I feel like it's the one thing that I feel like people relate to, the one thing that I feel like also allows people to let their guard down and feel and be emotive. And that's what I fell in love with at a young age. I was like, I'm feeling so much from listening to whatever I'm listening to. I think when I am able to write down something or create a melody that I am in love with, it's almost an outer body experience. Like I kind of forget what happened. So anytime I listen to any of my old songs, and I'll be like, I don't remember writing that, because it just feels like it happens. It's out, it's secure, it's ready, and it's almost like I black out mentally. I don't know. I think it's maybe just the fact that it's always from personal experience. It's like, wow, in this moment, I was able to verbalize how I felt in a melody and in a lyric. And I kind of just lose myself in that moment and then start to think the structure of the song. But it's totally out of body experience. Fear is a prominent role in my journey as a musician. I am fearful of every gig, every recording session, every writing session that I have, and it's me facing my fears. It feels like this exhilarating rush, and I think that that's why I'm addicted to it in this weird way, because it's the most fear I've probably ever felt is just like performing and having all eyes on me. I think that the overcoming of fear in being a musician, it doesn't really have an ending point. I think I'm just trying to get over these little humps of being a musician and jump over these hurdles that allow me to be a tiny bit less fearful each performance and each recording session as we progress, a tiny bit, but it doesn't mean that that fear ever goes away. My advice to other musicians, singers, artists, all of the above, and this is something that I implement in my vocal lessons, is to never play it safe. I think a lot of the time, especially being a vocalist, we like to play it safe because we're scared of what it's gonna come out. And we're scared of being incorrect or having a tone that comes out wrong. And I always tell all of my vocal students to never play it safe and to always give me more and to let it out so that you can see what you're capable of. Because when you play it safe, especially as a musician, you don't know like your true lengths and you don't know your true strengths of being a musician and what you can really do. And I think that there's this vulnerability that terrifies us as musicians. And I think if everybody was more comfortable just letting it out and singing as loud as they could, or, you know, giving me as much power as they could, as opposed to being safe, I think that they'd be surprised on how much they can do and how much they can grow as a musician.
Chaos seems to follow me. Late hours of the night inspire me. Easily pleased. Don't know why I run so deep. I know I've got melodramatic needs, but that's alright with me. I wanna live in a place where shit don't change. If you're in my world, you'll just stay. Wanna go somewhere that waking up don't scare the hell out of me. I wanna live in a time where crying to sleep is only in a dream, only in a dream. What if it all ends up even better than my dreams? My dreams, not forever. I'm just getting closer to me. Life of the party, till the party took the life out of me. But I need to remember the days that I've tucked away, dwelling on my last mistake. Can't forget those nights that changed my life. Now I believe that I can live in a time where crying to sleep is only in a dream, only in a dream. What if it all ends up even better than my dreams? My dreams, not forever. I'm just getting closer to me. Oh, oh, ooh, ooh, ooh. I'm just getting closer to me. Closer,